Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Paint and Spill. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Callum. Nice to meet you. You may be wondering, Callum, why are you off centre? And why are you visibly sat in the chair today and not stood next to it? And it's because our guest for today is...
Me!
Byron! So, of course, I had to get Byron on the, whatever you want to call this, podcast video.
Blog.
It's something. You could listen to it with your eyes closed. It could be a podcast.
I listened to Anna's whilst I was making my breakfast.
There we go. I was literally saying this, like, do I make this into like a podcast? Do I upload the audio elsewhere so you can listen to it with just audibly? But anyway, besides the point, I do also like to have a visual element to this. And of course, Byron doesn't wear makeup. So how are we going to film Paint and Spill on Byron?
Byron's gonna do the glam.
Byron is going to be the one doing my makeup today. So we're in for a wild ride. I'm going to pluck at Byron's brain and get to know everything there is to know about him. I mean, again, I actually already know, I think, I'd hope, at this point.
A lot of it.
Oh.
If not all of it, okay.
Yeah.
You made the question, so surely you know as you're writing it if you know the answer.
Yeah, I do know the answers, but I just like to really get in depth, you know, and basically spill my friend's secrets to all you guys watching. So that's the concept for today. Byron is going to be the one glamming me. I'm sure it's going to be so fun.
In my head, I know how to do it. I've never put full makeup on anyone before. I've done Anna's eyeshadow as a joke before, and I've seen countless people put makeup on their own skin, including Callum himself. So I think I've got a pretty good understanding of the base, but it's the eyeshadow that I don't think I have the craftsmanship to do.
And I did say to Byron earlier, don't go easy. Like, I don't just want a bit of bronzer in my crease. I want the full glam.
Have you got a photo, actually, that you want me to recreate?
No, I want you to really channel your creativity.
Can you
give
maybe
me some
find an
eyeliner?
Can you maybe find an eye for me to do?
Okay.
Because that's where I stumble, because I'm not good at... Whenever I've played around doing eyeshadow on Anna, I really just can't seem to get a nice colour mix of colours. It just ends up looking like one big blur. So we'll see how this goes.
I'm actually really excited to see how it turns out. And the first thing I'd like to get into is exactly just how tall Byron is. I am currently sat, I'm going to insert a photo of the way I'm having to be seated currently. I am on a really high chair with 3 thick pillows under me, just so that we can get both me and Byron in the shot.
Because I've got my heels on.
To be fair, this is quite an accurate representation of me stood up.
Yeah, no, you're a little bit taller than that. You're a little taller.
No, I don't think I'm that tall. About there.
I'm a long boy.
The thing is, these pillows are falling from under my bum, and that is not good.
Why don't you sit on the back bit of the chair?
Oh yeah, boom! Straight through the back of the thing. Not a good idea. So if you do hear the chair creak, deepest apologies, not too much I can currently do about it.
And if I keep moving out of shot, I do apologise. It's because I am in fact tall.
Very tall. And I do hope we can get Byron in for the entirety of the shot.
And also, Callum said he's not giving me any clues or any tips or tricks. The one thing I asked is I want the exact products and brushes that he would use on himself. And the only thing I need him to tell me is, like, when I'm applying foundation, use this brush, not this brush. That's the only thing.
All that being said, I am so excited for today's episode. I cannot wait to get to chatting with Byron and let him do my makeup. So let's get into it. First question, straight into it, Byron. Why are you doing my brows? Who is Byron Denton?
I am...
This is going to be hard because you've got to concentrate at the same time a little bit.
I am also in need of a spoolie.
Okay. I forgot how hard this is actually going to be for you, because you have to concentrate while you answer my questions instead of just being like...
Okay, right, this is fine. I am, as some may say, a content creator.
I'll say that.
Online. Varying platforms. YouTube is where I started out. I always had an Instagram page, but I feel like YouTube's where I started. My Instagram were always just the same, pretty much as it is now. It was just me and my friends and whatever. It's more catered to fashion now, I guess. But I've always created content. I started doing YouTube when I was like 14 because I just absolutely loved watching other people do YouTube. And yeah, I've been doing it ever since. I also have TikTok, and I don't know what I would describe my TikTok as. It feels like a private story a lot of the time, but we're trying.
I feel like that's the fun part about TikTok, though, is that it doesn't... A lot of people's TikTok wouldn't really reflect anything else. if that makes sense. Like, I wouldn't say my TikTok personally reflects any other of my platforms.
Yeah. I feel like yours has still, like, got some sort of, like, you're a makeup artist when you look at your TikTok.
Really?
Yeah. Or maybe not recently.
I don't know, I just think it's fun.
The mouse don't look like they've had anything done to it. But this is
it definitely does look full of... You don't stress it, you just do whatever.
I'm going to come around this side.
Okay. So, you said you've been doing this since you were 14.
Yeah.
And you are?
25.
So, 11 years doing social media.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think, like... I know you said you started doing it because you like to watch other people doing it, but where do you think it become a thing of being like, no, I actually really want to do this? Was it like a certain video, a certain creator, and then because your original niche was
not
original?
No, the tampon's great.
Yeah.
No, we'll get into that. So I started watching UK YouTubers is what I started watching first. You've got Alfie Days, Marcus Butler, Zoe, people like that, and then they would go to America and collab and film with people like Tyler Oakley and like Joey Graceffa or Troye Sivan. And then I started watching people like that, and I found a boy called Lo Anthony, who I absolutely loved. He's now Bible till the day he dies. He's not gay anymore.
Oh, so he is, yeah.
Like, really crazy turn of events, but I just loved his energy, and this is when I was like, well, obviously I didn't even know I had an inkling. I was told I was gay, actually, by everyone around me, but I was like, no, I'm not, because I had girlfriends at school. And, yeah, I started watching him, and then I basically copied his entire personality on the internet for my first couple of YouTube videos, and then they got played in an art class to the year above.
Well, I want to get into this.
So I deleted that channel and started a new one.
So I do want to get into this because I spoke to Anna about it as well, and I think it's like a similar situation to everyone, because I know when I personally started my makeup Instagram, like, I still have all the boys from school blocked doing anything, because I feel like where you're from isn't like the biggest...
It's also not a great
melting
place.
pot.
But yeah, but
There's,
also
like,
the
different...
school that I went to is very... not in a rough area necessarily because it's where I'm from, but like it weren't a good rated school in Sheffield, and it's not like the best area.
So this is what I mean. So like I need you to take me back, because you start to post on YouTube. Your first couple videos.
My first video ever were reacting to Miley Cyrus and Robin Thicke at the VMAs. So whatever date that was, the day after is when I posted my first. You know when she came out in the like mouse costume and she was twerking and tongue out for the first time that she'd ever done it. That's the first video I made, reacting to her at the VMAs. And I posted it, but I didn't realise my YouTube channel were linked through Facebook, so it was sharing it straight to Facebook, and I had no idea. So I posted that, and then I posted like, I don't know what else I posted something else. And then I went into school, and my art teacher were like, oh my god, I seen the class above, the year above, we had your YouTube video on, and I was mortified because I was like, what? And they were playing my YouTube video because it had been shared to Facebook, so someone in that class saw it and put it on in the class. Yeah, and then I deleted it, and then that's it.
So obviously I feel like anyone's YouTube video, it's the same situation like when anyone starts as young and it's like an out of the ordinary thing.
And also YouTube weren't really, and like social media weren't what it is now. Like I feel like if a kid's TikTok
I was
in school
literally
got
saying
found
this to Anna,
like,
it's not like crazy.
Won't be like, yeah.
So this is what I mean, like when...
Ooh, I don't know where to start with this part.
How did this come about? So obviously they put your YouTube video on in your class. Was like
not even in my class.
Yeah, the year above, and everyone knows that you're always in school terrified of like people older in school. Oh no, especially if you're in year 10, they're year 11. The year 11s in school are terrifying.
No one really said anything, to be fair. Like none of the kids said anything. It was just the teacher had made me aware of it, and then
Did you then like panic delete the video?
Panic delete the full channel.
And then how long after that did Tbhbyron come about?
Like a year.
And then just really quickly when I got it in there, where did Tbhbyron actually come from? At the time though, if it is around the time, I feel like a lot of people had like
This is where it come from.
Like
the Twitter names.
Yeah, or
like a little bit of an alias, like they were like Graveyard Girl. Like no one really had their actual names.
Yeah.
But I
feel like it works so well though, and I feel like it's also not really cringy.
I hate it.
Do you?
Well, I changed my YouTube and my TikTok's not that. It's just my Instagram.
What's your TikTok?
Just at Byron. Well, the actual at's not. But when you put at Byron in it tags me.
Oh, yeah, but
I mean?
It's still Tbhbyron,
yeah.
though.
Yeah. I were then on Twitter and everyone had these accounts where it were like, to be honest, Tina, and it was like Tina Blanchard from Bob's Burgers.
And it was like King Kyla.
And they just post like relatable teen things. So I started running a page like that. I had a friend actually in New York, and he had an Instagram page called like Algebra Strap or something like that, like algebra but Algebra Strap. And I had the Twitter account and he had the Instagram, and we would post. He lived in New York, and he would post when he were awake, and I'd post when I were awake, just like copy and paste relatable quotes.
Yeah.
And then I then did my username as TBH because they were like these like we were a dolphin on the Twitter page, and they just post memes and it was like TBH no, and it was like just funny.
Oh, like things. To be honest, I remember To Be Honest no.
And then they just post like relatable quotes and stuff. So I copied that for mine when I started doing it. But it's funny actually because Ella still remembers this. When I first started doing it of myself, like I started then like just the exact same content that I were doing on the other channel. I just thought fuck it one day and did it again. I was filming a vlog of my day. Obviously, who the hell's watching? Well, who the hell's still watching now? But
don't say that. I'm watching.
I were in town with my best friend Ella, and we were going up the escalators in HMV, and I didn't even want to tell her that I'd started doing YouTube, and we were going up the escalators, and I kept filming things all day, and she like asked me when we were on the escalators, like, what do you keep filming for? And I can't remember if I told her or made up a lie, and she still remembers to this day that I'd done that, like she brings it up all the time.
The line on the HMV escalators.
Yeah, and then I started making content like cute things boys can say to girls, or like cute things boys do for girls, or like just weird like skits and stuff.
Because that was at the time of skits.
Yeah, and it were like just like weird, just like cute things girls do, or like stuff like that. And I posted loads of stuff like that. And then I think I started watching people like Shane Dawson, and I don't know if Tana Mojo would have been posting at that time or not, but like her content, a lot of these American people weren't very PG. And I loved like all this dark humour, and like Lo Anthony was so funny. So I just would do outrageous things. Like painting tampons, which I don't really know where it came from, but I used a lot of my mum's tampons, close your eye, in the process of doing it.
Loved that.
I don't even know if she'd known that I was doing that, because I don't think mum and dad knew that I was doing YouTube. And yeah, the videos didn't slap. I thought it'd be one of them things where it was like viral because it was so crazy.
That obviously had to have come a point where you did start to get them like viral moments, and for it to then become like
what I would do is I would go on Instagram and like YouTubers that I liked, or like people, especially when Madcom were a thing, I would go and I would follow a bunch of people that were liking their tweets.
And they got your automated response.
And then they got a message from me.
Hey, cutie.
Yeah, because I would post on YouTube for ages, and I thought, how the hell does anyone see this? Because one, I didn't want to share it to my own like personal things, for like people at home to see it.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I also love what everyone else is doing, and like especially these American people, that I want that audience as well. So I would follow
their audience, so they're then followed back. Because that was a big thing on Twitter at the time. Like everyone, you can just go straight on with the fluffy brush.
Yeah, but I'm a makeup artist, so don't tell me what to do. Everyone would also do that, so it was like a thing that people would do that anyway, and I fell victim to doing it, and it makes me absolutely cringe out my mind now, but it worked, and because I got probably like 25,000 subscribers from telling people to subscribe.
I mean, do you know what I would like?
But it would be a daily routine. Like I would come home from school and I would sit for hours, and I had an app that told me all the people that didn't follow me back, so I would unfollow them and then keep following. I wouldn't unfollow the people that followed back, because then obviously they just unfollow if you unfollowed them.
Yeah.
But I had an app that would tell me who didn't follow back. I'd unfollow them all, then start fresh again.
And then that obviously converted to YouTube. So you obviously then continue to post on YouTube. You stay consistent with it. And then... Okay, but you continue to post on YouTube, Byron.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's correct.
And then there comes a point you're about to move from Sheffield down to London and you're going to uni. Yeah. You're moving in with Haz. How did this come about? Like, how did you decide you was going to move to, one, London for uni, and for two, you'd now be moving in with Haz?
So I applied for... I didn't even know if I wanted to do uni. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I did photography at college. We're still doing YouTube. Weren't doing YouTube enough for it to be even considered that it would be anything that I could do full time or like not come out of education for. But I was going to more events and stuff and like meeting more people, and like I was friends with Jasmine Clough, who I'm still good friends with to this day. Love you, Jazz. Callum, this is awful. I feel like Barry B. Benson. I like jazz. I had a couple of YouTube friends at this point, like not that I'd ever really met in person, but like that I'd like were acquainted with on the internet, like followed each other online, watched each other's YouTube videos, like would chat. And then one day there were a charity football event in London happening, and quite a lot of people that I were mutually friends with were all going. Anna being one of them. Like me and Anna followed each other on Twitter, I believe. I remember her messaging me.
Oh, that is so funny because when you obviously have watched Anna, did you watch episode?
I didn't finish it all.
Well, we speak about this in Anna's episode 2, and yous are just going to be back and forth arguing.
Yeah, this has been a back and forth for years of who's actually right and who's not. And as far as I'm aware, Anna messaged me on Twitter saying that I should come down, and people like Lee Hinchcliffe were there, Jazz were there, Anna were there, Saf were there, Spencer were there, Carmi were there. There were loads of people that I like knew from the internet, and like we all followed each other, but I'd never met any of them. So I was like, do you know what? So yeah, I went down to Soccer 6, got there, and Anna did not speak a word to me. That literally I was trying to have conversations with her, and she would reply, obviously, she was never rude, but like she was just so shy, and it was just so awkward. And I obviously were friends with like Leah and everyone else, so it like weren't too much of an issue that Anna didn't speak to me. That I didn't leave thinking, oh, what a bitch, or didn't leave thinking anything of it actually. However, that happened, and that's where I met Haz. So I went over to like Spencer and everyone, and Haz was there, and then we all went like to like a green roomy part where you obviously couldn't just necessarily walk. And I spoke to Haz outside, and I thought she was like just a fan of everyone's content and like a viewer of everyone. And then she came into this little back bit with us, and I was like, oh, like who is that? And I found out she was dating Spencer. So I was like, oh, cool, whatever. We followed each other on Instagram, on Twitter, and then that was that. We all went home, blah, blah, blah. A couple of weeks later, I'm applying for unis, get into a uni in London, and I see on Twitter as well that has posted saying, is anyone going to UAL? And I was like, oh my God, me. I don't know anyone else going. So I messaged her, and then the second time we ever met was we went and looked at student accommodation together to move into the same place, because we thought it's better to know at least one person than
And
to
do it
not
on
know
your own.
anyone at all. And the rest is history.
And then how does Freya then come into the equation? Because then you all ended up living together, yourself, Freya and Haz. Where did Freya come from?
Where did Freya come from? So we moved into...
And now you obviously still live with Freya.
Yeah, we moved into... uni.
Bye, Haz.
Bye, Haz.
Yeah.
We got rid of Haz. Brought Freya back. So when we moved into uni, Freya was my neighbour in my student halls. Like, she was the girl that lived next door to me. And she just immediately became really close friends with us. We got along really, really well. And then the rest is actually history of that. But it was literally just by coincidence that she lived in the room next door to me.
And then when you moved from that student accommodation, like from
and then we all
halls
just,
to
yeah. And then
get an
obviously
apartment.
second and third year of uni, me, Haz and Freya all just moved out together and stayed living together.
There we go. How did you find... Yeah. How do you think you found uni along with working, so to speak, and still managing to stay somewhat consistent enough on social media for it to then end up actually turning into your career? Because I know you said by the time that you was leaving, you wasn't even considering it to be a career, but there obviously has to be a point where it goes from that to now it is your job, essentially.
So I didn't really enjoy my course at uni. I much preferred my life at home with Byron and Haz. Also, I got Haz to start YouTube. Haz didn't want to do YouTube before she met me, and I would vlog in every day at uni, and everyone would comment on my videos, oh my god, Haz needs to start a YouTube channel, Haz needs to start a YouTube channel. Haz sang on YouTube, but she didn't post her life, and I was like, Haz, do you know what? Everyone is asking for it. Why don't you just suck it up and do it? And she took some real persuading, and then by the end of first year she obviously had her own YouTube channel and we're doing it, and then that's when she introduced me to Anna, because her and Anna stayed friends once Haz and Spencer had broke up. And then Anna came to stay with us one day, and I'd obviously only met Anna off the premise of Soccer 6, and I was just thinking, I'm not gonna like this girl. Like, she didn't speak to me. I feel like me and Haz are very much like in a bit of crazy, just not living with parents for the first time era.
Bit of a wild era,
but also not that wild at the same time. And I just looked at Anna as really sensible and sweet and little and innocent, and I was like, I don't know if we're gonna get along at all. And then she came down to stay and ended up staying in my room with me, because we got along really, really well. I know, I kind of want to put a shimmer on your lid.
Go for it. But back to the question. How did you manage to keep consistent?
Oh, so this is what I was saying.
Was you didn't really enjoy it?
I didn't really enjoy my course at uni. Like, I did enjoy it, but I just thought, like, it just felt a bit of a waste of time, in the sense of I'd done photography in the same exam board at college for the 2 years previously, so it were like working to the same guide, and it were like you had to reference. I feel like I'm extremely creative as a person.
Very creative.
And that course, you could be as creative as you wanted, don't get me wrong, but you would always have to reference culture and art, and it would always have to be a direct inspiration from someone else's work.
A lot of people might actually either will or won't know this, but like, Byron is one of the most well, I think it reads in your content anywhere, to be honest. Like, Byron's content, if you've never watched it, which obviously you have.
Look crazy right now.
Yeah, it's is so incredible. It's like so creative, so aesthetically pleasing, so clean, creative, everything. He's done things. If anyone's seen Anna's whole, like, getting love notes. Do you know what? It was like Byron's brain just works in the craziest ways. So I can imagine for you, do you want to walk past? You can walk past. I can still speak over it. It doesn't need to be on me. I can imagine for you then having to kind of imitate someone else's working style. That is like, for any creative, actually, that is literally hell on earth, because you want to just be able to kind of run with your ideas, and in that situation you
very
can.
much could run with your own ideas, and you could do that, but it would always I think, because how can someone mark creative work? You can't. It's
very subjective.
So the way they would mark it is on the academic side of it, so then you would have to tie in all this history. Long story short, really didn't like it, preferred being at home with Haz and Freya, obviously anyone's going to say that, and we just would film videos and be silly all the time, and then Anna were involved in the mix, and Anna would come and film videos with us, and we would all literally hang out and pretty much live together every single day. And then alongside that, I was working at Urban Outfitters, and I actually loved working at Urban Outfitters. It was probably the most fun job I've had outside of doing what I do now. And then Miss Saffron Barker saved my life during COVID. COVID hit when we were about to graduate uni, and I got made redundant, and I was like, what the hell am I meant to do? I'm earning some money, and I was doing some brand deals on YouTube, but it weren't anything to sustain any sort of like rent and bills. My student loan were paying for all that. It was just like spare money outside of work that I could use. And then Saf, basically, when she went on Strictly, asked me to edit her YouTube videos while she was doing Strictly, and I did that. And then she was like, actually, do you want to just edit my YouTube videos and I'll match your wage at Urban Outfitters? Oh no, I left Urban Outfitters because she said, I'll just pay you the same you're getting paid now at Urban to edit my videos. And I did that, and I've been editing her videos ever since. And I think that gave me then more freedom
to actually be able to
put
a lot into your
more
work
into what I do. So I'll be forever grateful for that, because it also got me out of working at Urban whilst doing uni. I could just prioritise what I wanted to. And during lockdown is sort of when things happened.
So once you finally graduate for uni, you're editing SaaS videos, you're doing a lot of your own stuff at this point, because like you say, in COVID, you've had so much time to focus on like you and your personal career alongside editing SaaS videos that you've had that freedom to do. So it's time to move to Manchester. Why Manchester from London?
So obviously COVID happened, and it were actually no way on earth that I could afford to stay in London, because the price that I paid to live in this exact building that Callum lives in now is where I first moved when I moved to Manchester, were the same price as the house that me, Freya and Has lived in for uni, and I had no window in my bedroom. It was a basement flat, and it weren't necessarily in the greatest area, but I could move to Manchester for the same price.
In such a nice apartment.
Such a nice apartment with a pool, a gym, like all this stuff, but just in Manchester. And I didn't want to move back home to Sheffield because I'd obviously lived on my own without my parents for 3 years. I didn't want to feel like I was going back on myself. And I was already planning on moving to Manchester beforehand if I didn't get into London. So I just it just made sense. So I moved up here with Haz, because Haz were also doing social media, but she were actually doing it more full time than me at this point, because naturally girls on social media
just pick up a lot faster.
So yeah, Haz were doing social media more full time than I was. So it was me and Haz. Freya sadly got made redundant from her job, and she didn't have anything else to fall back on, so she had to move home to her dad's in Wales. Yeah. So we had to say bye to Freya, me and Haz.
We had to say bye to Freya.
We had to say bye.
We had to say bye to Freya.
It was a real sad day. And me and Haz moved to Manchester. And then Anna were like, I don't know why you're moving to Manchester. Like, you're going to hate it. Like, you want to be in London. She came and visited us once. And then a couple months later, she moved to Manchester because she loved it. Just a piece of professional advice. I want to put some of this pink colour that is on your lid in the inner corner.
Oh, inner corner. I thought you meant waterline.
Is that a good idea?
Because it's shimmery, yeah.
No, I want about the burgundy.
Awful idea.
Okay, so not.
Is that your inner? Is that what you mean? Because that's your inner corner.
I kind of just want a bit of purple along here.
On the outside is fine, but that's your outer corner.
Okay, so then I keep this light in the inner corner.
Yeah, to like widen your eyes.
Okay, so I can put this on with this brush in this corner.
I'd probably use a smaller brush, otherwise it's going to be very messy. Perfect. So obviously Anna then moves down to Manchester.
Manchester.
I got an F in geography, okay? That's not my speciality. My speciality is, in fact, what you're doing now. So
it also appears to be my speciality.
It does. You're doing a really, really good job. So Anna then...
You're moving backwards whenever
I'm sorry. Anna then moves up.
Yeah, correct.
To Manchester.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect! Smoker, sultry. And then when you've had the little liner...
I don't know about...
No, but you can just use it like a... I think it'll look cute. Anyway, at the point of Anna moving up, you are now in a relationship.
Yeah, I was by the time she moved up.
Why am I saying this like I'm narrating your life? You are now in a relationship. You did have a great relationship for the most part. I do want to touch base on it just because I feel like, it's a big part of your life, and I feel like there's a lot that can actually be learnt from your situation there with he who shall not be named. You handled that like a trooper. You did. No, yeah, you did.
Publicly, yeah, personally.
No, public. This is what I mean, because best believe I'd be taking him to church.
I went through it.
Yeah, Byron did go through it, and it was, as a friend too, it was horrible to see. It was public. Like, you obviously had like quite a public relationship and public breakup. Online, you handled that incredible. Obviously, as a close friend of yours, that wasn't the best situation?
Yeah, probably one of the worst emotional times of my life. Like in terms of my state of emotions at that time weren't great.
As much as we was there for you as much as we physically could be.
Oh yeah, I literally lent on my friends more than anything in the world.
You still had to deal with that publicly, people asking questions and whatever that may be yourself, as well as dealing with it when you was on your own, if that makes sense. I'm trying to word it without sounding like ridiculous.
I would never badmouth my relationship because I feel like it taught me a lot. It was the first relationship I've ever been in, and like now I've like emotionally moved on from that situation. I can sort of see it for what it was, and I like hold no bad blood or like it's just it is what it is. Like we obviously won't be friends. Like
we won't be best buddies.
We won't be best buddies, but like if I saw him out and about, I would never be rude. Like I still have a lot of respect for his family and like got along with his family, and like it were really a pivotal part of my life that I feel like I needed to experience, and I'm actually really grateful for a lot of.
You learn a lot from it.
I learned a lot about myself through someone else, which is why I also thought felt at the time it were a lot harder to just like separate myself from, because he taught me a lot about myself and allowed me to feel a version of myself that I've never been able to feel before. So then when I associated feeling that level of contentment and comfortability within myself with a person, and I've come to realise obviously now that's not, it was great at the time, but like everything I felt about myself during that period of time, that didn't leave when that person left. Like I still took all that with me. Yeah. And like I still am the person that I felt like I was in that relationship, and it just obviously didn't go the way that I thought it would go, but it went the way it went, and that's that.
That can't be helped, obviously. The flip side of it, and actually dealing with like a public breakup and everything else that comes with just being online, do you think you'd ever take a relationship to the internet again, or do you think that taught you a lot in the sense of like you wouldn't want it to be a public thing? Would you treat it differently to how you did before?
The only thing that I realised once we split up is obviously my content is very much my life, and like I never really hesitated to share that I had a partner.
And I think because when you are in a relationship, like a serious relationship, like that's like a good 90% of your life in most cases.
Together.
So
we lived together, we spent every day. He was my best friend. Like I didn't want to then just like when I felt like,
and you wouldn't hesitate posting your friend.
Yeah, no, I just didn't think, I thought about it, I didn't really think anything of it, because I thought realistically, who cares about my relationship? But I think I didn't realise when we broke up, like the people, like it was so lovely that people were doing this, because like the few people that obviously they weren't necessarily invested in our relationship, but I felt like they owed me to, because I didn't directly say straight away that we'd split up. I got a lot of messages, well, not even a lot, I got a couple of messages just being like, oh, is this not your boyfriend, or like blah blah, and like people seeing him out and like just asking me, have you broken up, blah blah, and I felt like then I had to address it. And also with people sending me like, is this your partner, and like whether we're on a dating app or whatever, I don't want to know if you've seen him in town, I don't want to know like what he's posting, and like people would screenshot his stories, because obviously people had followed him from when I had posted him in my content, and like Anna had posted him, everyone had posted him, like he was literally part of our friendship group, as well as being my boyfriend. So it was like, then people are sending me his posts, and like I couldn't see his posts because we didn't follow each other anymore, but then I've been sent his posts, and like they were part of me that like were like, oh my god, I get to still, when I was going through it, keep up with what he was doing through other people, which I was like weirdly like thankful for a bit. But then I was like, actually this is really not helping me at all, because I actually don't necessarily need to be seeing anything that this person's doing in order for me to move on with my own life. I also didn't want to, like, I was really close to his family, and I never wanted to bring anything, like I didn't want to say what had happened, and like I, again, still would never badmouth him, because I have a lot more respect for myself and for him to do that. Like, that were our business. Yeah, I might not have agreed with a lot of things, but still our business. It don't need to be brought online. It don't add any value to my career or what I do on the internet. It just makes me look like I air my dirty laundry out, and not my business.
Sweet.
But I probably would still share a relationship now. I don't think he was the type of person that ever took advantage of the fact that I did what I did. Like, he wasn't bothered. Like, it weren't as though like he did anything, or like nothing that I did affected how we broke up. We would have broke up regardless of whether I worked in social media or didn't work in social media. Like, that didn't play into it. He never reaped any benefits from me doing what I did, realistically. So it weren't the fact that I shared him on social media. I just didn't like afterwards that people knew who he was as association to me and then would report things back to me. But as soon as I posted that thing, I posted a story just saying that I'd split up and I didn't necessarily appreciate people sending me things, it stopped. And that were it. Done. On the flip side, I also have so many vlogs and videos and moments that are online, that are still online with him in them, and I don't want to delete them because that's my life. And like, I'd be deleting daily vlogs for the last 3 years that like just because he's in them. I'm not going to do that.
That also kind of like included other things, which
that
do
but
want
also
to be able to look back on.
That were such a big part of my life, and it's part of my life that I don't regret. Don't want to like just because that at the time that were great and they're online. So I'm not going to go back now and remove all the things that felt right in the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like once you're at a point also where you've healed from it, you're just like...
Look back on and just be like, whatever.
Yeah. I think you'd kick yourself more for completely removing any sign of existence when that was also including other memories which might be personal to you or whatever that may be. Carrying on with the theme of dating. None other than relationship status. The book that, honestly, I think...
That I co-authored.
That you co-authored.
Let's not forget it.
We're not forgetting. And also kind of did send the internet into a little bit of shock when that came out. I don't think when relationship status was announced, people was expecting back tickles to come with it, to be honest.
But I don't think a lot of people were, like, our friends all knew. Our friends have always known.
We've been knowing, guys.
And obviously me and Anna knew. And I also didn't actually know what she'd written in the book. And I still don't know because I've not read it.
But long story short, you end up tickling Anna's back, and then... We don't need to go into specifics. You can go and read the book if you want to know how that went down. So we spoke about this literally at the start of the video. Like, you've always just been told you were gay, right? Mm. How did you find the response of it coming out that you'd obviously done some not so gay things?
Not so gay things.
You will have obviously seen and like read things. How did you find the response after the whole internet just boxing you off as being a gay person?
I actually didn't care about what anyone said about me directly because like, I've been on the internet long enough to actually not be bothered by what anyone has to say, and it doesn't like ever personally like... I'm not bothered. Like, say what you want to say about me. I know who I am.
I think also kind of retweet like, "It's your life that nobody else is kind of owed an explanation for."
Yeah, and I didn't care to like read. I've obviously seen comments like of people being shocked by it and then discussing.
Like shot like that. Sorry.
And then discussing like my sexuality, but I was just like, oh.
Can we also kind of like denormalize discussing people's denormalize discussing people's sexuality that kind of really does not affect or have actually anything to do with anyone but yourself.
No.
I feel like...
But we all... It's also like, we can say that, but then it's also like such human nature to...
Be interested.
And like, for what reason you are interested. Like, I don't know, like if a celebrity comes out as like whatever...
Okay, it's gasp.
Yeah. Like, and depending on who it is and how much I care for them, I am always a little bit like, oh...
Yeah, I do get that.
So
the whole Shawn Mendes thing.
Get it. But also...
Did he like whack it on his story? Like, what happened though?
No, he's never actually said anything. He said he's just figuring things out. And like...
Oh, he can figure things out with you, is what you're trying to say.
Absolutely.
Let him go on, give your messages. What have you got to say, Shawn Mendes?
Absolutely zero. Not saying anything to Shawn Mendes.
Publicly. It's all in the DM.
It was not. That makes it sound like I've been DMing him.
That's iconic. Bye, Camilla. Camila.
Bye, Camilla.
Bye, Camilla. Jinx.
The only thing that I didn't like, and obviously I posted a TikTok speaking about it, is I then thought about other people reading that who aren't necessarily comfortable with themselves. To the side. And also myself reading that about someone that I may have watched online, and people just discussing it and it being such a topic of discussion. It were actually quite positive, like no one were really saying anything negative, but just the discussion around it in general would have sent me spiraling when I was younger. Reading it about someone else, it would have made me feel like, ooh,
Yeah, because I don't
even want it discussed at all.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realise this as well, but like if somebody is then internally facing something and then the scenario somewhat plays out online,
But
and
also, even
it's
if you're
taken
reading
negative,
it about a stranger,
that's
like,
what. No,
it
this is what I'm
just
saying. So like, if
clicks
it's
in your head.
that's what I mean. So then, if something's taken into a negative, and it's kind of your situation too, you may think that might reflect how your situation will be
It
treated.
just makes you think that, oh, if people are talking about this random person on the internet, then my close friends and family and whoever I'm associated with will also be discussing it like this. And that's what I didn't like. So I just said, like, let's just calm a little bit. No one's bothered. Let's move on.
We're going to move on to blush, and we're going to move on to your chapter in the book, actually, and how you found writing that there is a blush palette.
This one.
Yes, make me blush.
And Charles, one for you, girl.
One for you, girl.
Right, blush brush.
Blush brush. Well done, by the way, for the chapter in the book.
Brush.
Incredible. And
Have
the
you
fact
read
that
it?
I actually have read most of it.
Oh.
And I can't read or write that well. So, when anybody writes in a book or a book, the camera's going to die. We're back. Oh, love this bit of her I've got going on here. Hi, Byron. Again.
Hi, Callum. Turn to this side, please. We'll continue where we left off.
Okay, we're continuing to blush. But I want to just jump straight back in, as we was, about relationship status and your chapter in the book. Incredible chapter, speaking about life as, you know what?
Life is...
Life as, you know what? How did you find actually like writing the book? Did you enjoy it? And then obviously you did the audio book after. As somebody that has no academic brain cell in sight, I'm extremely dyslexic. I could never. So I want to know like what your perspective was on it.
I like writing. I feel like it just... I probably wrote each of the little things that I wrote in like 20 minutes.
Like quite naturally.
Yeah. I feel like Anna just said what she sort of wanted me to touch upon. And I literally wrote majority of it whilst waiting for the flight in Vegas in the airport. Just sat on my laptop and I just wrote
The infamous GRINDR.
Yeah, I feel like it came quite natural. I feel like I've always enjoyed writing and stuff like that. I don't think it was too much of a... Obviously, I didn't do half or near even slightly as much as Anna did. The hardest part were actually speaking the words that I'd written for the audiobook. That was a train wreck.
How did you actually find doing an audio book? Because I don't think people realise how hard that probably is.
The audiobook was so fine and so fun to do. It was just hard because I'd obviously written everything in like my tone of voice, and then going...
As if you wrote it basically like how you speak.
I wrote it how I speak, and then it had gone sent to Penguin, and then they'd come back with the Queen's English, and I then had to read it how it was written
in the Queen's English, which is...
Queen's English, which
it's
is
not Sheffield
so
English.
far from what I speak like. So I was quite stumbly, and also I was thrown off because I also read out loud some of the parts that Anna had written for the first time. So I was then hearing what she'd wrote, and it like caught me off guard a little bit, and I was like, ooh, this is very
A lot,
intense.
yeah. Wait, he's getting into the gum now. I feel like we're nearly done, no?
Yeah, I just need to do lips.
You know me.
Right, look at
It's not the worst, Byron. I feel like I have picked Byron's brain enough. Touched all bases pretty much. I would agree with Joe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, apart from how we met.
Apart from how we met. Thanks, Hannah.
Yeah, thanks, Anna, actually.
We met at Scursity.
Mm-hmm.
We did.
You were in the back of the car.
And we just
I was
clicked.
driving. And we just cleared.
But by that, I feel like we've touched all bases. I have harassed Byron enough. I'm so sorry.
Babes, I've enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed it.
I think
So
I might be a makeup artist in the making.
I do, but we're not ending here. I'm going to jump off camera, let Byron finish this beautiful glam off, and come back with our final thoughts. And I have one last question to ask you, but I need to be in full glam first to get it ready. So I'll see you all in a second. This is the final look, all complete, by Byron himself.
I tried my best. I hate the eye. I hate the
Byron,
eye.
you've actually done such a good job. You don't do makeup, so stop being ridiculous.
Yeah, but I hate the eye.
Byron, this is your
The
first
skin
time
looks
putting someone in
nice.
glam. Yeah, the skin actually really does.
And I don't hate the brows. The brows are very boy brow.
But we're just boys behind
know.
all this glam.
For real.
I just want to say thank you so much for trusting within me to come and chat to me today.
You're so welcome.
Why are you laughing at the glam?
Interested in me. It just looks, the eyes just all types of spooky.
I don't think it's the worst.
We're going for Christmas vibes. That's what we're going for with this.
But at the end of the day, this isn't about me, Byron. It's about you. So I'm going to jump off camera and I have one last question to ask you. If it was 15-year-old you in this room with us right now, what have you got to tell him? Bye.
Hey. Hello, 15-year-old me. I would tell 15-year-old me to stop wearing skinny jeans sooner, and also to do and try everything you want to do, because you shouldn't be bothered what anyone thinks of everything you want to do. Does that make sense? I don't know if that was a real sentence. Yeah. Just try more, do more, and say yes to more. Be confident in what you want to do, and don't feel scared that other people might judge you for it. Bye.
Thank you so much, Byron. It
You're
really
very
means
welcome.
a lot having you here today. I loved the fact that I got to be the one getting glammed. I hope you had fun doing it.
I did actually have really fun. Really fun? I did actually have a really fun time.
You're welcome to glam me anytime,
Nah,
with or without a camera.
you need some more bronzer.
No, I'm just pale.
I'll
to be
just do
honest.
Halloween glam. If you want me to put you on Halloween glam, that's
You can do
my
whatever.
specialty.
Byron is going to be back with us next month
Oh, for really fun glam.
for a really fun glam. So you'll see that on Christmas Eve. But all that being said, thank you so much. I love you ever so much. You know what I
love
do.
you.
I'd be lost without Byron, and he is an amazing person. If you don't already, make sure you go and fall in love with him. Everyone.
Perfect. Bye.